There was a new boss at the Windsor-Essex County Humane Society. Lynette Bain is filling the position that suddenly became vacant in July with the firing of Melanie Coulter, who had been the CEO for 16 years. For the past 13 years, Bain has been working with Tourism Windsor-Essex Peely Island. We've invited her to our studio this morning to talk about the transition, her plans at the agency that looks after the welfare of animals in our region. Good morning.
Good morning, Amy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So, how do animals play a role in your life? Where does the love come from?
Well, animals have always played a big role in my life. And right back to when I was 5 years old and I rescued my first cat, Tinkerbell. And I've always had a soft spot since then. And currently in my house, I have 3 dogs and a cat, and we have 8 horses. But my home has graced many different animals from rabbits and hamsters and you name it.
Is there an animal you haven't experienced that you're looking forward to sort of rescuing at some point of this journey?
Well, a little bit more of the exotics I'm really actually interested in learning more about. Through my dealings with tourism, I've actually been able to, through relationships with Point Peely, be around snakes too. So I know that's a little scary. My husband does not like snakes, but I actually really do.
Someone has to be passionate about the snake.
I
It
think
won't be
so.
me either, but I'm glad that that's something that you're embracing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I do, living in the county too, you encountered more different kinds of wildlife. So really interested in seeing how that overlaps there. And I mean, horses are a big passion of mine too. They're such amazing animals. And I love that segment that you were just talking about on air with how Wetra was preparing the emergency first responders. And it's so important to be prepared. And I would really applaud what they're doing.
What are your priorities as the new director?
I think my priorities are to come in and to listen. There's been a lot, obviously, we know in the media that's been going on lately. And I think the staff and volunteers who have been working so hard, really need some support and someone to listen to them and take that feedback and come back with a plan that's going to sustain the agency well into the future. We're going to be celebrating 100 years in 2026. That's just phenomenal. And we want to have an organization that will be built strong enough to last the next 100 years. And I can't build that plan alone. So I'm not going in with a plan. My plan's going to be in consultation with those that have been doing all this great work for so many years. I have great experience in building relationships in the community and partnerships with stakeholders and municipal leaders. And I think that's where my strength will come in handy, is be able to build some bridges and build those relationships.
How difficult is it to come into an organization and be seen as the leader for a workplace where the past leader was let go?
It is common, and I think it's more about reassurance and providing that security in that safe place. But we really want to focus on moving forward. We have to take that time, I think, to acknowledge some of the pain and what's happened in the past, but it's really about moving forward. And it's that old anecdote about the rearview mirror is smaller than the windshield for a reason. And I think that's what the focus will be.
The public still doesn't know or have any idea why Melanie Coulter was fired. And there's been some drama around the board as well as membership since the summer. Is there any way to sort of clear all of this up and give some transparency?
The goal definitely of the board moving forward is transparency, and that's my goal as well. I'm an open book type person, so I love to be able to answer questions, be available. I want to build those relationships with the media as well so that we can have that access, because the Humane Society belongs to the community. I know that the board is the governing body, and that's really important that we have that. But the agency belongs to the community, and we want to have those open doors. Of course, there's things with non-disclosure agreements and all that formality. But moving forward, I think it's a way that we can be transparent to the community.
Will we ever hear what happened?
I don't think so. Usually there's agreements signed in these situations. It's when this happens. So there are those non-disclosures, and I don't think that there's any crazy story to be told here. I think it's about moving in a new direction and having a leader that the board is wanting to stand behind and move the organization forward.
What can you do to sort of restore the community's faith in the Humane Society?
Through communications, through opening the doors, and through building those bridges, and really elevating the people who are doing the work every day. I have had an outpouring of communication from people I don't know who are volunteers, who have donated, or who want to be involved, and it's incredible the passion. And I know there's going to be some people that are upset or that miss the leadership that was there prior, and that's okay because that passion can be harnessed, can be used for good, and that's what I want to do. And there's no desire to berate anything that happened in the past. It's we always learn from where we've been and grow from it because there was some great things in the past, and I want to celebrate that and learn and build on it.
Aside from the leadership challenges, what are some of the other challenges currently facing the Humane Society as you see it?
Definitely looking. I haven't been in there very much, but knowing that we have the longest, like warmer seasons, the cat population is definitely an issue, and finding that space. And it's crowded there at the Humane Society, bursting at the seams. So that's definitely a priority is making sure that we have the capacity and the tools to be able to deliver the services that we need to. I mean, over 15,000 animals pass through those doors between the clinic and the shelter annually.
For people who maybe are less familiar with you, you've done a lot of work with tourism in the city. What did you do there that you can now apply to the Humane Society?
Well, coming into this job, actually, that I'm currently in Tourism Windsor-Essex, there are some similar parallels. I was brought in with our current CEO, Gordon Orr, after a leadership change. There was stakeholders who were disengaged, funders who were questioning the organization, and there was a $400,000 deficit. And we came together with a plan to turn the organization around and build and restore faith from the funders and the stakeholders and the staff. And I draw those parallels that will be able to assist in this role now.
Is the Humane Society also facing a deficit?
No, that's one thing that's different about this situation because of the generous community that we live in and the funders. That is not a crisis situation that we're in. I definitely would think that there's always going to be need. But knowing the community that we live in, one of the most giving communities in the country, we are blessed and people are passionate about their animals.
All right, Lynette, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Amy.
Lynette Bain will be the new executive director for the Windsor-Essex County Humane Society. She's going to take over on November 11th. We want to hear from you about this. Do you have confidence in the Humane Society? Are there any unanswered questions you feel you need to be addressed? You can text us those at 519-984-2051, Michael.